Welcome to The Claw, the podcast for C-suite executives. I'm Eric Holtzclaw, Chief Strategist of Liger. The Claw covers topics around marketing and running businesses and making sure that you're taking care of your employees. Today, I am joined by the CEO of GoPivot, Don Doster. So Don, thanks so much for joining me.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
So tell us a little bit about GoPivot.
So we are actually an international corporate wellness company.
Okay.
Went international about 3 years ago with one of our customers that had offices over in the UK. And so we had to become what they call GDPR compliant, and that grew. And now we're in 13 different countries, and our app comes in 20 different languages. So
nice.
I think there's only 2 states in the U.S. we're not in right now, Alaska and North Dakota. I'd love to be in Alaska. I don't know about North Dakota, but
my daughter lives in Montana. There's 2 people per square mile.
That's
so
right. My
crazy.
wife's from Montana.
Okay.
So,
All right. Yeah. So tell me, wellness, like that can cover
It is. That's a big, broad area. So I'll break it in 2 categories. One is what I call wellness services.
Okay.
Wellness services are people like nurses that come in, take your blood, BMI, give you what they call a biometric screening, your score, and then they coach you on how to improve that.
Okay.
That's a big industry. We actually subcontract to companies to do that, like LabCorp would be a real, and then there's the corporate wellness platform side, which is more technology based, and that's like an app, like a wellness app where you can, record your exercise steps. You get points and credit for going to the doctor, getting your annual physicals. Health education, like monthly educational videos. It could be on nutrition. It could be on exercise, chronic disease, type education. So something they have on them every day that will engage them every single day into their health. And that's what we do.
Okay. So like what my Apple Watch does.
Yeah. We're actually integrated with Apple Watch. Okay. So anything on your watch, like, how it does the circle, completes the circle.
That's actually the number one reason I wear the watch.
Yeah. So we get that data.
I don't do well on my circles, but
my wife will actually stand up and say, I got to complete my circle. But so we get that data, and that's actually one of the metrics. If you complete your circle according to your plan, you earn points for that. Steps.
Nice.
We track sleep. It can be anything that an employer wants off that device to award people points for.
Nice. So many of those things, like sleep is not a thing that I do well either. Like I don't, I might not get a lot of points. I guess we'll find out today as we talk about it. So for GoPivot, so how did you end up in this space?
Oh man, it's not a straight line. So my background is actually in safety. So going into companies, looking at their workers' comp injuries, the severity, why they're happening. And when I started the company in 2003, that's all we did. From 2003 to 2009, you'll recognize some of the customers. Like, have you ever seen the big orange Schneider trucks out there?
Yeah.
They were on it. Trucks measure everything. The biggest thing is what they call a hard brake, which is a 7-mile-an-hour deacceleration in 1 second at a time.
Okay.
So you don't know this when you're driving, but all those trucks have a computer on them measuring everything. So if a driver's getting a lot of hard brakes, he's falling too close too fast. So that would be a metric on a safety program. Don't have a bunch of hard brakes. And if they don't, then they would earn points for that. It was actually in 2009, one of our customers in Valdosta, Georgia, which is a sawmill, we had helped them reduce their OSHA recordable injuries. And an OSHA recordable injury is anything that requires professional medical attention and something was done, like they wrote a script or they did an x-ray, suture, something of that nature. And that's what OSHA looks at to determine, what is your risk as a company. Okay. And so anyway, they had a 64% reduction in 18 months. And the person handling that, her title was environmental health and safety engineer. So she said, have you ever considered health and wellness? I was like, health and wellness? How am I going to measure like an ROI? Right. Like if you get healthier, where's that ROI?
Right.
Where in safety, it's really easy. You can look at the number of injuries they had, the severity, did it result in lost time? Like did you not show up to work? What were the procedures? So if you reduce that 64%, it's pretty clear.
Okay.
So she said, do you understand what self-insured means? And I didn't even know that even existed. And the way she explained it to me was, if you want to reduce your deductible, you reduce your premium on your car, you raise the deductible.
Right.
All right. So she said, we're self-insured, which means we pay those claims, even though the reinsurance may be Blue Cross Blue Shield or Cigna, and everybody's going to get a card. That doesn't mean that Cigna's paying the first claim.
Right.
That means we pay it.
Okay.
And their deductible, I think, was like $4 million. So anything they can do to reduce that and get those claims down, they're very motivated, to do that. And I said, well, we'll do it for you.
Yeah.
And she called me one day and said, hey, our biometric screening vendor is here today. And she said, everybody's lined up in the yard to get their blood taken. And her name is Barbara Barrett. And I said, Barbara, this is Don Doster. I think you got the wrong number. She goes, no, silly, I got the right person. She said, we've been doing this for years, biometric screening. Nobody ever would do it. She said they're doing it because of the points they get on your program that result in them redeeming for pretty much anything they have.
Interesting.
And she said, you're not taking me serious. And I said, okay, explain to me why. She said, Aetna insures 42 million people a year, and they're looking for anything that will engage people in their health. Well, that's all I needed to hear. So we made a pivot. That was 2010, and got into the space not knowing anything that we were doing. I had bootstrapped the company up to that point in time, which brings me to Venture South, okay? How I met those guys. So we raised some money, got into the space. In the first year, we landed Kaiser Permanente here in the state of Georgia. Still a customer of ours today. It was total luck. I was at a...
Luck is where opportunity meets preparation.
That's right. I was at a luncheon. It was just a professional luncheon, and I was sitting at the table with the executive vice president of HR here in Georgia. Her name was Dawn Bating at the time. And you know how you just ask, what do you do? Yeah. She asked me what I did. I told her, she goes, I want to talk to you. And next thing you know, we've got them.
Nice.
So the business got on a nice little track for wellness, but our technology was not built for that.
Right.
It was built for safety. So we didn't have the cool app that we're talking about. We didn't have the nice exercise nutrition. We weren't integrated with all the devices out there. So that's when we went into the market to find a partner, and we found Rival Health out of Raleigh, North Carolina. And Venture South had invested in Rival Health. So I kind of inherited them, but they're great. They're awesome.
Yeah.
So we put the two together. We spent probably 16 months and built a brand new mobile-first application that kind of took the best of what they had, the best of what we had, put them together, put it in the marketplace in June of 2018. And it took off.
Yeah.
It really did. We probably have...
It was good timing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably have 450,000 lives on our app today.
Yep.
Then 2020 came. Fortunately, our customers like us, and we didn't lose them.
Right.
But that was a rough year for sales.
Yeah.
Nobody was really doing anything.
Right.
I made a decision that year that turned... I don't make a lot of good decisions, but that particular year I made a great decision. And I said, okay, the world shut down. This is an opportunity for us to maybe take the lead. And so we really used it for a technology year. And we invested in our technology.
Okay.
And that helped us actually get ahead of some of our largest competitors. One of those is called Personify Health. That's Virgin Pulse.
Okay.
They're the largest in the industry. And since then, we've been on a really nice, growth path. But the world has come our way. And that is that, health insurance cost, this probably by yourself,
right,
has been on a 14% rise since 1944. Now it's pushing 20%, okay? So where it used to be, okay, this is an HR duty, just get us the best benefit package you can. The C-suite now is like, this is the second largest line item other than our payroll.
Right.
What are we going to do to control those costs? Yeah. So the market's kind of coming to us, where you've got to have a wellness strategy, and we're great. We're great for that.
Yeah.
So I think as far as the outlook on where things are going, I think it's very, very positive.
Yeah.
For any company in the wellness space in general.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Very interesting, and a good. So, did Go Pivot show up when did you name it Go Pivot?
So
it
was funny
because it works for you, but it also works for the person.
We actually love the name.
Yeah.
So at first, I made a comment in a meeting. I said we need to pivot and go another direction, and marketing raised their hand and said, "That's a great name."
Right.
So then we said we need an action word in front of it,
yeah,
and that is if I want to make a change in my life, do something different tomorrow versus today. So Go Pivot.
Yeah.
And that could be on safety. That could be on wellness.
Yeah,
and it has. It's been very catchy.
Yeah.
We love the brand. And people get it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I love it when a company name and what you're doing and all of those things work together. You become a noun in a category.
Yep.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about So you kind of mentioned the rewards piece. So tell me how that works. So like, what is, the employer signing up for it, then giving it to the employees, and
so it works just like a frequent flyer program.
Okay.
We didn't really invent anything that wasn't already out there.
Right.
We just brought it to the wellness market, which is pretty significant in the way we do it. I want to talk about that in a minute. But in the consumer world, points, that's not a surprise.
Right.
Fly Delta, you're getting miles,
Right.
and then you can redeem those for, free airfare. And so we use that same concept where you're earning points that you can then redeem for anything. Like we have over 500 gift cards, Airbnb, Amazon, you name it. We're integrated with Best Buy and 120 other big box retailers.
Yeah.
We're adding something right now as I speak, actually. We're rolling out called Ticket Jones, which would mean, all right, I want to go see a concert. I want to go see this college football game, this baseball game. I just go in, enter it in, and it'll give me the points of that particular item. And then I can redeem it, and it'll be sent to you through Ticketmaster or however that is. That's a big deal for us.
Yeah, it's really nice because like user behaviors move to experiences.
Right.
So like, how do you support that?
And we just got, I love testimonies, but one of our customers is the city of Rome in Georgia.
Okay.
And one of their employees actually went online and posted it. I love the GoPivot points. I'm down here at Disney World. I paid for my Airbnb. I paid for my airfare to get here. And it was all because she met wellness metrics.
Yeah.
And so I feel like we get people started, but that's not what keeps you going.
Yeah.
What keeps you going is I feel better.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing things I haven't done before. And they'll continue to earn the points, but we're kind of the catalyst.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the things that we say, Go Pivot. We give everyone a reason to change.
Yeah.
That's the catalyst that gets people going.
Nice. Very nice. Well, good. So we got a little bit of the background. I'm going to go to a commercial break, and when we get back, we want to talk about sort of things you're working on now and where you think the future of this is, because if things are continuing to rise and, they're going to just start putting stuff in us all over the place, right?
Right.
Like track
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I also want to talk about determining how the incentives work. So like, what incentives are going to be appropriate? Because as an employer, like, how do I know that my people are going to participate and build that incentives package that's really going to make this successful on the back end?
No, that's great.
Yep. All right. You're listening to The Claw. I'm talking to Don Doster. He is with GoPivot. The Claw is the marketing podcast for C-suite executives. We'll be back in just a minute.
The Claw podcast is brought to you by Liger. Liger is a hybrid marketing firm combining a brand strategy consultancy and a production house that offers the full range of content and creative services. We can be your entire marketing department or your entire marketing department's favorite people to work with. We save the world from boring, broken marketing by putting businesses in brand therapy so they can express their most authentic, memorable selves. And then we share their story so they can be known. For more information, visit ligerpartners.com and follow us on our social media platforms.
And we're back. You're listening to The Claw. I'm Eric Holtzclaw, Chief Strategist at Liger. We're always working with companies to try to figure out how to incent customers to do things. Sometimes we're doing internal rollouts of like mission, vision, and value or campaigns or whatever. And your product fits really well into that because people don't do something unless they have...
Right.
There's got to be something in it for me.
Right.
Like,
that's right.
Not just about the company. So as you work with different companies, because your product would work in a wide spectrum, what are some of the considerations? So if I'm an employer and, let's say I've got a bunch of attorneys, or I'm someone who's like running a shop and I've got, people out with forklifts, like how does that influence the way I might put your product into it?
So I'll probably shock you with this. We have actually studied what people redeem across white collar, blue collar, and there's only one conclusive thing that we have been able to determine, and that is that they redeem their points for what they need. So we've looked at white collar and say, okay, they must be getting, big screen TVs.
Yeah.
Not necessarily true. We've seen them get vacuum cleaners. We've seen them get Home Depot cards.
Okay.
What happens is something happens at the house or an event comes up. Maybe it's a graduation, birthday, Christmas, who needs what? And then they go to their points and redeem. It's a common question. I
feel seen. I have a bunch of American Express reward points, and it'll be like, oh, the whatever just broke. I didn't want to buy that. Like, yeah. So, and Amazon makes it so easy.
That's right.
Just go in and say, okay, just use those reward points, and then you don't have to deal with it. Okay.
And the other thing I've heard is the guilt factor, and that is I can't get cash with my points, right? So I can't pay a bill with it. So redeeming for a big screen TV and maybe some luxury items I normally wouldn't go spend my money on, it takes the guilt out of it.
Yeah.
Well, that's all I could do.
Right.
And so I've heard that a lot as well. But we've studied deep, because that is a general question we get. How do you position those incentives for different demographics? And we haven't seen any difference in what they redeem. What we do though, on the program design, is we use something called hook methodology.
Okay.
When I explain to you what it is, you're going to go, oh man, I've been hooked. A million times out in the industry, but you don't know what's happening. I'm going to use Kroger as an example.
Okay.
So I don't know if you shop at Kroger or Publix or whatever, but Kroger has this loyalty program where you earn points based on your buying habits at Kroger.
Right.
And depending upon what you buy, you can get more points than others. Like if you get prescription drugs, I don't know if people know this or not, you get like 3 or 4 times the points.
Okay.
And then what you can redeem the points for is at the gas pump.
Yeah.
So you go there, $1 off.
Right.
So the hook, what happens is you're still shopping at Publix, you're still shopping at Walmart, you're earning these points for your current buying habits at Kroger, and all of a sudden you check out and you look at the receipt and it's 80 cents off a gallon. You go get the 80 cents off and you go, what else can I do at Kroger?
Right.
That's literally what happens. So where we used to
dopamine.
buy, that's right.
Right. Yeah.
Where we used to go to CVS or Walgreens, we do everything at Kroger. I actually drive past 2 Walmarts and a Publix to get to Kroger.
Yeah.
So we use that same methodology, and that is that we want to hook you fast. So how do we do that? We put in some really low hanging fruit, like just download the app, points, okay? Watch a little introductory video that might be 3 minutes long, points.
Yeah.
Sync your tracker. You mentioned Apple Health Kit. Sync your tracker. Complete a profile, which is like an exercise and nutrition profile. And if you do those 4 things, and you could do that in one sitting, literally, you'll get a bonus. At the point that you get the bonus, it's enough to get a $25 gift card. So then you will immediately get hit with Amazon or whatever. And once you make that redemption, that's called the hook, you've tasted the fruit, then they go, this can't be real, right?
Right.
I mean, we just launched the city of Smyrna. Firemen, policemen, wouldn't think it would hook them. We watched them in meetings actually do that, and they're looking around going, this can't be true, right? That I'm getting it this fast. Yeah. Well, then they go and they start looking at the things that are really going to make a difference in your health. And that is, am I getting my annual physical? Right? Mm-hmm. Am I over 50? Doctor's been telling me to get my colonoscopy forever. Those are big points. Yeah. And then they should absolutely be. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Or maybe I need to enroll in some kind of disease management or care management program. Yeah. And so we hook them, then we get them in to do those things, and it just works. Program design is so important.
So do you like to play games on the weekend? Or you like a gaming? Because it's very gamification.
It is. It's gamification.
And microdosing, getting someone and also those things that we talk about on the marketing side of early wins for your
early wins. There you go.
Like, what is it you can do? Like, don't make them do all of this. Like,
right.
What can we do?
It can be overwhelming.
Get a little along the way.
That's right.
And there's also, what drives me crazy is anything where the profile is 90% complete. Yeah,
we actually have that. That drives you crazy? Oh, we have a rocket ship, and you want to finish the rocket ship.
Yes.
So you're right. We use gamification. I'm not necessarily a gamification person. Yeah. But, we'll use every trick. We didn't invent them. Right. They're already out there. We just capitalized on what's out there, and we use it, in our programs. There was a study done. I want to tell you this. This was in the early 2000s. It was a study done by Stanford University. Yep. I need to get my hands on it, but it studied you mentioned endorphins and dopamine that's released in the brain. And the study was done on Christmas morning. Is dopamine released in the brain more before the opening of the gift or after? Right. And what it said was it was way higher before. So it's kind of like, what's behind door number 1? What's behind door number 2? So we do kind of a lottery thing as well. Mm-hmm. That you do something on the spot recognition. You scratch it. Am I going to win? Am I not going to win? So we use all those techniques to get people engaged.
Interesting. And so as you think about sort of future for your business and just future for this kind of category, like what are some of the things you're either excited about, worried about? Like what do you think about in the future?
So I'll talk about excited about probably, first is the ones that get in front of the market, and we're really heading that way. I'm going to call it like 360 wellness, total well-being.
Yeah.
The mental well-being aspect of it, which let me just briefly speak to that. So when COVID hit, what would be the natural thing for customers to do? They're in a panic.
Right.
Because their people are stressed, their kids are home,
Yeah.
they're having to make all these adjustments. Their sensors were at a hypervigilance is what I'm saying, an all-time high. And they looked at their EAP, which was their employee assistance program, and they realized that it was kind of like a check a box. They really didn't explore it.
Yeah.
And so they came screaming to us saying, what do you have? What do you have? And we didn't have anything.
Yeah.
So my wife's a clinical psychologist. We spent a year, we created our own proprietary, it's trademarked to us, called the SMILE survey. And it's 25 questions. You can take it any time, and it's actually therapeutic as you take it. And it measures 5 categories like physical sleep, we talked about that, relational, occupational, emotional, and experiential. And experiential is, are you getting out in the world, or are you just isolating?
Right.
And it gives you a score, 70 being average. And if you're over 70, it gives you immediate feedback. It reinforces that behavior. And if you're under, then it'll say, hey, here's some things we think you should consider to bring it up. Of all the things we've done, the entire time we've had our business, the feedback that we've gotten on SMILE survey is by far off the charts.
Oh, wow.
Employers
Nice.
feel like I have a practical tool
Yeah.
that I can offer my employees to check in on themselves. And then what we'll do is put a little link at the bottom. Hey, if you'd like to talk to somebody, click this link, and then that'll take them to whatever the services that they're offering. So those companies that are at the front that are doing, what I say, total well-being,
Right, yeah.
The market is ripe for
Yeah,
that.
and it is also related, right? If you feel depressed, you're not going to work out as much. Like there's all this, like just
It's all interconnected.
the circle of despair.
Their
that just starts
productivity, everything.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Getting someone just up and moving and doing a thing and whatever. Okay, really, and a good. 2020 was such an interesting time.
Right.
I say even as business owners, because people, they didn't look. This is Eric's opinion. Didn't look as much to like politics or religion or whatever, but there was a lot of burden on the businesses.
Mm-hmm.
We did so many things inside our company just to make sure our people were okay.
Right.
We have a Wednesday meeting that we still hold that started in the pandemic,
Mm-hmm.
because every week on Wednesday we bring people together for like 45 minutes to an hour, and it was not about the business. It was just we played games,
Yep.
we did whatever, because people were stuck in their house and whatever. And we've continued that. It's a way for us to make sure everybody kind of gets one check-in.
Mm-hmm.
We all see each other's faces. And so, okay, so that's good. So that's a new thing. So what else, like future-wise for you guys?
So this international
Part of it,
that has really opened up doors for us that weren't there before, because every country, what you do in India, as an example, from a health perspective, may be different than the U.S.
Right.
because of the entire healthcare system.
Right.
Well, our ability to be flexible. So let's say I'm going to use North Highland again as an example. So you have an office in the UK, you have one in India, you have one in South Africa, you have one in Romania. Believe it or not, all of those programs are different.
Yeah.
And that type of flexibility I think is really going to anchor us and help us. Where I'm nervous, what happens anytime a market gets ripe?
You have other competitors.
There's a ton of people trying to jump into the and we just want to get a front. We feel like we're on the front end of that,
right?
From a brand perspective, but there's people entering all the time. So there's going to be some consolidation.
Yeah.
That's going to go in. Either we're going to merge again,
Mm-hmm.
with somebody, or we're going to, consolidate, or somebody's going to consolidate us. Who knows?
Yeah. So because I'm always curious about marketing, and one of the reasons, and you talked about these people kind of lining up to, have their blood work done because they were going to get points and things. And we've done a couple projects where they were rolling out, a wellness like item, because we do a lot of work in kind of the HCM category.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do from an internal marketing perspective? Like, how much heavy lift do you participate in with those employers? Like, how do they know that this is a thing? Because when they roll out the benefits, there's like 17.
I know.
You can take your cat in, you can like whatever, and you're like, oh my gosh, like what else is in this thing, right? So standing out and making sure people really adopt. Like, what?
I'm glad you brought that up, because one of our no-nos is we don't want to be a part of open enrollment.
Okay, you do it separately.
We do it separately. Okay, and we tell our clients, if you really want this to work, don't make us a part of that.
Okay.
We're just going to get lost in it. It's just fatigue.
That's really smart.
For the employees. We try to look at every single mode of communication that they've used in the past that people pay attention to. Yeah. So we'll capitalize on it. It could be text messaging. But the biggest way that we do it is we really incent that hook on the front end to download the app. Once they've downloaded the app, then we've got you. We're sending notifications. Yeah. And so a lot of our employers, especially during 2020, to get the word out, I mean, it could be like hey, we're having a town hall meeting. The CEO wants to talk to everybody. They used us. They used the app.
Oh, wow.
This because they knew they were paying attention.
You're a better version of Nextdoor.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Did anybody hear that just happened in the neighborhood? It's like, or is such and such open? You're like, why don't you call such and such?
Yeah, that's right.
Open.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Really nice. Good.
So that's been, really, really helpful once we get you into that app. And I mentioned Langdale earlier. Actually, Langdale had there was a tornado that ripped through Valdosta. I don't even remember this or not, and it damaged a lot of the plant. They realized they didn't have a good emergency way to reach their employees, so they use it for that kind of stuff.
Very nice. Very cool. Sort of an unexpected secondary use.
That's right.
Really good. Well, I love the story. An amazing story. So thanks so much for joining me today.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And so if an employer, and you primarily sell through employers, like this is not something okay. So if someone wanted to reach out and find out more,
just go to gopivotsolutions.com, just type it in.
Okay.
And we've got a great website.
How many points do I get for sending in a contact form?
Well, whatever you want, believe me. But it's real easy. They can just click in, request a demo. We're integrated with HubSpot and Zoom Info, and we'll get back to them right away.
Very nice. Well, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Yeah. So you've been listening to The Claw. I've been talking to Don Doster. He is with GoPivot. For more information, you can visit his website. And for information on Liger, you can go to ligermarketing.com. Thanks so much for listening in.